Coffee is termed as the drink of choice around the world, often associated with energy and alertness. But let's be honest, it's actually about its tantalizing taste and soothing aroma. It is rightly said that life begins after a cup of coffee. This is the author, Lenny Peake. And being a coffee fiend himself, he never misses a daily stop at a local coffee shop in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening, plus a visit or two in between. And not surprisingly, he often finds himself browsing some short notes or articles on the internet. Pulling in tidbits of coffee knowledge while sipping in a hot cup of coffee acts like a subtle taste enhancer. So he thought it would be helpful to take some of these more interesting articles and compile a short ebook that would summarize the more important and interesting facts of coffee culture and history, in hopes you get some interesting information from this book and, more importantly, enjoy it. Coffee, the drink of choice. Did you know coffee is the most consumed beverage in the world? How did coffee get this ranking? Which country first figured out coffee was safe for consumption? When was the first drink of coffee prepared? Where did the first coffee shop come into being? There are many questions about the starting point of drinking coffee. It has been so long ago, no one really knows all the facts. But one thing is for sure, coffee is the most consumed beverage on the planet. The beginning of coffee. It looks as if the first trace came out of Abyssinia and was also sporadically in the vicinity of the Red Sea around 700 AD. Along with these people, other Africans of the same period also have a history of using the coffee berry pulp for more than one occasion, like rituals and even for health. Coffee began to get more attention when the Arabs began cultivating in their peninsulas around 1100 AD. It is speculated that trade ships brought the coffee their way. The Arabs started making a drink that became quite popular called gawa, meaning to prevent sleep. Roasting and boiling the bean was how they made this drink. It became so popular among the Arabs that they made it their signature Arabian wine, and it was used a lot during rituals. After the coffee bean was found to be a great wine and medicine, someone discovered in Arabia that you could also make a different, dark, delicious drink out of the beans. This happened somewhere around 1200 AD. After that, it didn't take long, and everyone in Arabia was drinking coffee. Everywhere these people traveled, the coffee went with them. It made its way around to India, North Africa, the Eastern Mediterranean, and was then cultivated to a great extent in Yemen around 1400 AD. Other countries would have gladly welcomed these beans if only the Arabs had let them. The Arabs killed the seed germ, making sure no one else could grow the coffee if taken elsewhere. Heavily guarding their plants, Yemen is where the main source of coffee stayed for several hundred years. Even with their efforts, the beans were eventually smuggled out by pilgrims and travelers. Discovering the coffee. There are a few circulating stories about the discovery of the effects of coffee and its initial consumption. They all revolve around an Ethiopian goat herder called Kaldi. It's said on one fateful day, Kaldi noticed goats in his herd behaving inordinately energetically. On further observation, he linked their behavior with red berries growing on some bushes, which they were seen eating. Curious, he tried the berries and found he too began to feel animated. It wasn't long before he shared this new discovery with others, and the berries became popular throughout the land. It's not known if Kaldi was a member of the Gala tribe in Ethiopia, but they are said to have consumed a mixture of ground berries and animal fat earlier than 1000 AD. Arab traders soon encountered coffee in their travels, bringing it back to their homelands and cultivating the plants on farms. It was these Arab traders around 1000 AD who were also likely to be the first to have boiled the beans, consuming them as a drink identified for its ability to prevent sleep. Bernard Lewis, in his Istanbul and the Civilization of the Ottoman Empire, tells of the Ottoman scribe Ibrahim Peçevi, who wrote of the first coffee house in Istanbul. Until the year 1555, in the high, God-guarded city of Constantinople, as well as in the Ottoman lands generally, coffee and coffee houses did not exist. About that year, a fellow named Hakam from Aleppo and a wag named Shams from Damascus came to the city. They each opened a large shop in the city called Takatele and began to purvey coffee. The demand for coffee around this time escalated to such importance that soon it was legally acceptable for a woman to divorce her husband if he was not able to supply her with her daily coffee. Around 150 years later, coffee was introduced to Italy by Italian traders. Pope Clement VIII, after no doubt tasting the drink himself, was quick to declare it acceptable for Christian consumption. Subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for our weekly videos, or visit our website at www.lensebooks.com.